How a cotton chopper became an NFL legend.
That is a butt kicking, a little guy just annihilating a big man. I'm ready to rock.
Picture this. It's 1990. A kid from the cotton fields of Texas just wrapped a thick, heavy chain and padlock around his waist to fake his way into the NFL.
Just an honor to be out there in that field and to have people watch me play. I love it.
He was dirt poor, used an outhouse because his family couldn't afford plumbing. Nobody drafted him. Nobody wanted him. Nobody believed a 240-pound defensive tackle could survive in this league. His name was John Randle, and he became one of the most terrifying players the NFL has ever seen.
Lock it down, baby. He's an unblockable force.
Watch his spin move.
I can smell you, Stevie.
Randall's picture is next to the word chaos in the dictionary.
Big dog's gotta eat. Regulator, mount up. We're coming.
Meet the cotton chopper, who became a Hall of Fame legend. Act 1. The Rise. Mumford, Texas. Population, barely 4,000. If you blink driving through, you'll miss it entirely. This is where John Randle's story begins. Not in some football factory, not with 5-star recruiting rankings, but in the cotton fields of Texas, where dreams go to die and reality hits harder than any linebacker ever could.
A lot of people wouldn't believe my story if it didn't happen. You couldn't write that script.
Picture this. A young John Randle is bent over in the scorching Texas heat, dragging a cotton sack that weighs almost as much as he does. His hands are bleeding. His back is screaming. The sun is merciless. And his father is nowhere to be found. See, John's dad left when he was young, abandoned the family, left John's mother to raise 3 boys on her own, working multiple jobs, barely scraping by. So John did what he had to do. He picked cotton. He worked construction. He did whatever it took to help put food on the table.
Back home, I would be out chopping cotton for $2 an hour.
But here's the thing about John Randle that nobody understood back then. That cotton field didn't break him. It forged him. Every single day in those fields, he made himself a promise, a vow that burned hotter than the Texas sun beating down on his neck. I will never be back here. I will find a way out.
He might be the best interior pass rusher in the history of the National Football League.
Football was that way out. Had to be. But there was one massive problem. John Randle was small, 6'1", maybe 240 pounds. In a sport where defensive tackles are supposed to be 6'4", 320-pound mountains of muscle, John looked like somebody's little brother who wandered onto the field by mistake. Trinity Valley Community College gave him a shot. Then Texas A&M Kingsville, Division II. Not exactly the pipeline to NFL stardom, but Randle didn't care about the level of competition. He cared about one thing: dominating every single person who lined up across from him. He was like a man possessed, angry at the world, because the world had told him no his entire life. No, you're too poor, you're too small, you'll never make it out of Mumford, you'll never play professional football. John Randle heard every single no. He collected them, stored them like ammunition. 1990 NFL Draft, rounds 1 through 12, 331 players selected. John Randle's name is never called. Not once. The phone doesn't ring. The dream appears dead. Everything he worked for, everything he sacrificed, every hour in the weight room, every snap in obscurity at a Division II school nobody had ever heard of. All of it for nothing. Except John Randle doesn't do giving up. That's not in his DNA. He calls every NFL team himself, begging for a tryout, pleading for just one chance, one opportunity to show what he can do. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers give him a shot. He gets cut. The Atlanta Falcons give him a tryout. He gets cut again. 2 chances, 2 failures. The dream is slipping away. Then the Minnesota Vikings call. Defensive coordinator Floyd Peters watches the film from this undersized kid from Texas A&M Kingsville. There's something there, something raw, something angry. But Peters has one problem. Come back in about a month. If you can give me 250 pounds, I'll give you a shot.
I knew in my mind, my heart, I could play defensive line. Floyd Peters, defensive coordinator, talks like an Army sergeant. He goes, you come back in about a month. Can you get 250? I'll give you a shot.
John Randle is 240 pounds, maybe 245 on a good day. Peters sends him away. 1 month, gain 10 pounds, or the dream dies. Most players would walk away defeated. Accept reality. Find another path. Not John Randle. A month later, minicamp. Randle returns to the Vikings facility, but he's got a problem. He's still 240, maybe 245 pounds. His body won't cooperate. He can't gain the weight. So he walks to a hardware store, buys a heavy chain and a padlock, wraps that chain around his waist, under his clothes, like he's about to break out of prison, not break into the NFL. Steps on the scale, 251 pounds. Floyd Peters looks at the number and nods. All right, we'll give you a shot.
Take this chain, wrap around my waist, put the padlock on, pull my sweats over top, and walks Floyd Peters. What's his weight? 251. He goes, okay, we'll give you a shot. That's how I did it.
Peters never knew. The coach thought Randle had bulked up, grinded in the weight room, ate like a madman, did it the right way. But John Randle didn't have time for the right way. He had one chance, one shot, and he took it. That's the kind of hunger you can't coach. Training camp, 1990. Randle walks into the Vikings facility and immediately feels the doubt. Coaches look at him skeptically. Veterans dismiss him. The message is crystal clear. You don't belong here, kid. First practice. The offensive line is laughing. This undersized kid from nowhere is supposed to rush the passer against NFL offensive linemen? This should be entertaining. First snap. John Randle explodes off the line like he's been shot out of a cannon. Swims past the guard, buries the quarterback. Second snap. Same thing. Third snap. The laughter stops. Wow, this kid is different. What the Vikings didn't know, what nobody knew, was that John Randle had spent his entire life preparing for this moment. Not in film rooms or fancy training facilities, but in cotton fields, on construction sites, in the pain of poverty and the fire of rejection. He made the team, barely, as a backup, as a special teamer, buried on the depth chart. But that was enough. That was the crack in the door he needed. Because once John Randle gets his foot in the door, he's kicking the whole damn thing down. Act 2. The Dominance. 1991. John Randle becomes a starter, and the NFL is about to have a serious problem. See, most defensive tackles are content to clog running lanes, take on double teams, be the unsung heroes. John Randle, he wanted to be a nightmare, a horror movie that offensive coordinators couldn't wake up from. But being undersized meant he couldn't just overpower people. He had to be smarter, faster, meaner, more relentless than everyone else. So he became a student of the game. He studied every offensive lineman's tendencies, their footwork, their tells, when they were about to pass block versus run block, where they carried their weight, which hand they favored. John knew everything about everyone. And then he started talking. Oh my God, the trash talk.
Like face paint, and then you add in the talking, the non-stop talking.
But he was nuts.
John Randle pioneered psychological combat in the trenches. Before the snap, he'd lean in close to offensive linemen and whisper the most disturbing, unhinged things you've ever heard.
Like something just died, Billy-nilly.
Some guys, they just got to start running their mouth in order to get themselves the RPMs up to the right level.
Come with me! Come with me!
Randle would tell linemen he knew where they lived. He'd describe their wives. He'd make threats that sounded halfway serious. He'd growl and snarl and laugh maniacally. Opposing players genuinely thought he might be crazy. Brett Favre admitted to the Canton repository, "Randle is the toughest player I ever have faced." But here's what made it work. Randle backed up every single word. The trash talk wasn't just talk. It was a preview of what was about to happen. 1993, 12.5 sacks. 1994, 13.5 sacks. 1995, 10.5 sacks. 1996, 11 sacks. 1997, 15.5 sacks. This is where how a cotton chopper became an NFL legend reaches its peak, from the defensive tackle position. Let me say that again for the people in the back. 15.5 sacks as an interior defensive lineman. That's not supposed to be possible. Defensive tackles don't do that. Edge rushers do that. But John Randle wasn't a normal defensive tackle. He was a freak of nature wrapped in a too small package, powered by a lifetime of rage and determination. He made his first Pro Bowl, then his second, then his third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. But what really set Randle apart wasn't just the stats. It was the fear, the legitimate, visceral fear he instilled in the hearts of offensive linemen across the league. Hall of Fame guard Randall McDaniel said, "He doesn't know how to take breaks, which is a good thing. You know, going against him, he's coming full go. No matter if he's hurt, sick, whatever. He's coming 100% every time." And the look. Good Lord, the look. Randle started painting his face like a warrior going into battle. Blue and purple war paint, wild eyes bulging through the face mask, that gap-toothed smile that was somehow terrifying. He looked like a Viking berserker who had time-traveled to the 1990s. Broadcasters often described Randle's black war paint and wild-eyed intensity as flat-out intimidating. But beneath the persona, beneath the war paint and trash talk and madness, there was something else driving John Randle, something deeper. He never forgot where he came from, never forgot the cotton fields, never forgot being told he wasn't good enough, and he channeled all of that pain, all of that anger, all of that hunger into every single snap. 1998. The Vikings go 15-1, one of the greatest offenses in NFL history. Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Robert Smith. But on the other side of the ball, wreaking havoc in the trenches, was the heart of that defense, John Randle. NFC Championship. The Vikings are one game away from the Super Bowl. They're heavily favored.
When you come to Metrodome on Sundays, it'd be like you're headed to an amusement park. They're easily the best team in football.
3 teams have been 15-1 in the history of the National Football League.
The Georgia Dome. The stage is set for Randle to get his ring. And then, the kick. Gary Anderson, who was perfect all season on field goals, missed a 38-yarder. The game went to overtime. Falcons win. The Super Bowl dream dies. The championship window begins to close, and John Randle's best chance at the one thing missing from his resume evaporates into the Georgia night. Act 3. The Twilight and Legacy. After 2000, the Vikings move on. They don't think Randle has much left. At 33 years old, after 11 seasons of playing with reckless abandon, maybe they're right, except they're not. John Randle signs with the Seattle Seahawks. 2001, 2002, 2003. He keeps going, keeps terrorizing quarterbacks, keeps proving people wrong, just like he's done his entire life. By the time he retires in 2003, the numbers are staggering. 137.5 career sacks. At the time, the most ever by a defensive tackle in NFL history. 7 Pro Bowls, 6 first-team All-Pros, 1990s All-Decade team. But here's the stat that matters most. 0 draft capital invested. Every single sack, every single tackle, every single moment of dominance. It all came from a kid nobody wanted, from an undrafted free agent who was too small, too unknown, too poor. From too nowhere to ever matter. In 2010, Canton, Ohio, Pro Football Hall of Fame, John Randle stands at the podium, looking out at his family, his former teammates, the fans who once doubted him. And he tells them about his humble beginnings in Mumford and his mother raising 3 boys, thanking everyone who supported him to reach his dream. See, John Randle's story isn't just about football. It's about every person who's ever been told they're not good enough. It's about rising from nothing when the world has written you off. It's about turning pain into power, rejection into fuel, poverty into motivation. The NFL has seen bigger defensive tackles, stronger ones, longer ones, but they've never seen anyone who wanted it more than John Randle, who needed it more, who was willing to sacrifice more, work harder, be crazier, be more relentless than anyone else. Coaches now study his film, his technique, his motor, his hand placement, his ability to defeat double teams, but they can't teach what John Randle had. You can't coach hunger. You can't drill desperation into someone. You can't manufacture the kind of rage that comes from time spent in cotton fields, wondering if you'll ever escape. John Randle is the greatest story in NFL history. An undrafted kid who became a Hall of Famer? That doesn't happen. That's not supposed to be possible. But John Randle built his entire life on proving that the impossible was just another obstacle to destroy. 137.5 sacks, 7 Pro Bowls, Hall of Fame, gold jacket. From the cotton fields of Mumford, Texas, to the steps of Canton, from undrafted to unstoppable. John Randle didn't just make it to the NFL, he conquered it, on his own terms, against every odd, through every doubt, past every person who said it couldn't be done. They said he was too small. He became a giant. They said he was undrafted. He became a legend. From cotton fields to Canton, the John Randle story. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Subscribe to Endzone Exposed for more untold NFL legends. Drop a comment telling us which player we should cover next. Because stories like John Randle's, stories of impossible odds and undeniable will, these are the stories that matter. Endzone Exposed is where the truth always scores.